Hi, good morning or good afternoon, depending when and where are you listening to this video. This is Evie's, and I am continuing with the series of videos about opening the chakras. This will be our 6th out of the 7 series, and it's going to talk about your third eye. Your third eye chakra is located on your forehead between your eyebrows, right in here, in this area. Now, the third chakra, it will give you the idea to perceive, to have intuition, to have wisdom, to have mental clarity. And it definitely promotes your spiritual connection while balancing the duality between feminine and masculine, but also the two sizes of your brain. Now, not only do we know the location, now we know the colors and we know what you're supposed to have with the third eye. The third chakra is helpful when you keep it open. And the frequency that you want to use as you help it continue to open and move correctly is the 852 high self-feel. The mantra that you want to use as you're helping that chakra is and both of them will be in a video in the description below that I use as an example. Again, don't forget that once you go into Google or YouTube trying to find these mantras, you can actually find the one that is suitable for you, as long as you remain on 852 high self-view, and as long as it is everybody's different, but you can always find something that feels better to your frequency. All right, now the foods to eat as you are trying to heal this chakra, you can have honey, you can have raw cocoa, you can have goji berries, lemon, purple grapes, purple kale, eggplant, purple cabbage, and purple carrots. Anything that remains within that purplish color will help you open your third eye. Now, when the third eye is healthy, it will give you, again, that inner wisdom. It will open your intuition. It gives you mental clarity. It promotes spiritual connections. And it also gives you a good visualization of your desires and to manifest your goals into the physical. So the thought process within this third chakra, it is a perfect balance that will correlate with how you see things, right? Now, the affirmation that you want to use or that you want to say to yourself, because mantra is a simple word that creates some type of vibration from within when you do it in repetitions. The frequency, which is 852, it would also move some type of energy with the frequency. But affirmations is what you see verbally or what you say verbally to yourself, but they must be positive. They must be not only in alignment, but it also helps you see the world differently. So in your subconscious, when you repeat affirmations, it will stay there. It will be stored there as something positive, right? So you can say things like, my third eye is open and I am insightful. I accept things as they are rather than how I want them to be. I honor and follow my intuition. I invite sacred transformation as I nurture my spirit. These affirmations will be also in the description below this video, but you can also add the ones that it's suitable for you as long as they're positive and they have to do with your mental state, right? Because that's what you want to create, a healthier mental state. Now, when they are blockages in your in your third eye, you will have mental illnesses. You can have anxiety, depression. You can have high levels of paranoia. You can have mood disorders like bipolar. You can also have migraine and you can have memory issues. However, in the physical, one of the things that you can see that there is a problem with your third eye is if you got pineal gland problems, if you have pituitary gland problems, if you got eye, ear, and nose problems, and also your hypothalamus can be affected when your third eye is not in alignment. So all of these you need to consider. However, and more importantly, when we are moving in our evolution and opening of all of these chakras, but for your evolutional spirit, the reason why it's extremely important that you first work with your lower chakras up the way up to your heart is because anything in the physical will manifest in your mouth, which is why your throat chakra is affected, but it would also affect how you see things, which it hurts and it will hamper the ability to see things as the way they are, which it will reflect also in your third eye. So that's why it's extremely important that when you do in fact do something that that it has to do with your lower chakras, you should not be working on your higher chakras unless you already work on your lower chakras, because regardless of what, it will still manifest. The difference is that when you actually do an evaluation and you seed on every single lower chakra, when you go into your thought process, you will see things, for example, and this is just a simple example. If you have abandonment issues as a child because your parents were not there or your parents didn't provide that stability that you needed, most likely you will have abandonment issues and control issues. But if you don't heal that from where the root of the problem was, meaning forgiving that part of you, because you will have to say to yourself that that happened when you were a child and you did not have control of the situation. But you also have to forgive the person who made you go through that process. Consciously or unconsciously, you will have to forget it. But when those problems arrive and now you're working on your third eye, it is easier to identify, oh my God, I have abandonment issues. This is because of the situation that I experienced with my parent. And at that point, if your third eye is worked, but you also work on the lower chakras, that will be removed. You can right away identify the situation. You right away will be able to forgive yourself and whoever else was part of that, and you simply move on. But when you do not have that healing part that you need from the lower chakras and you're working on the third chakra, the idea will manifest, but you will not know how. You will not know where it came from, how it got there. So that's why the importance of doing that, because the higher the frequencies that you're trying to work with, meaning the higher the levels of the chakras that you're trying to work with, you want to have a solution for each one of them. You want to be able to say and identify where was the problem. The throat chakra, the heart chakra, and the third eye chakras are the ones that at this point you must be working with a spiritual leader. You must be working with a coach, a life coach, You should be working with somebody that does some type of Reiki healing. You should be having a social worker, a therapist, a psychologist, somebody that you can sit and you can express the things that you feel. Because when they're dwelling in the mind, they are attached with an emotion. And then sometimes you are unable to express it. And because of it, if you're not able to express it and they're attached to your emotion, they stayed in your mind. And your mind goes in circles with the same problem over and over and over. You analyze the situation and you simply do not move on. It is so hard to do it because you don't know where it comes from. So this is why you have to first work with the lower chakras before you decide to move on to the higher chakras. But the third chakra is the one that deals with everything that has to do with your head. Anything in your head, in your brain, will be affected by this. And because it will be affected by this, we have to understand that our brain is actually the very thing that sends forces of electricity, and it sends vibration to the lower parts of your body. So it will reflect physically as well. But we don't know that. We don't, it's hard to tell if you haven't done the work, the necessary work to move on. So the sixth chakra, even though is one of the last ones, it is the most important one, because when we also deal with people that have bipolar, people that are like psychopaths, people that have the rapist, the murderers, when we're dealing with the problems of our society that reflects that way, that hurts communities, that hurts people that way, we have to understand that there is a problem in the brain which is manifesting that way. And depression and anxiety is always a problem. It's always a reflection of that, because again, we're dealing with problems that you have not explored, and if you haven't worked on it, it's going to reflect also. So when you have anxiety and depression, it's not just your third eye that is blocked. It's most likely other lower chakras that you definitely need to work on. I will say too that in this book, I also like to say not only that this book also give you a specific yoga poses that will help you, but I noticed that it also shows oils that you can use as you working per chakra. It would also tell you other diets that you can follow. It would also do it would also tells you that, for example, if the third eye is working correctly, then that means that your clairvoyance, your psychic abilities, your manifestation, your astral projection, and your visualization as you manifest your thoughts in the physical are always working at its best when your third eye is open. However, where they're not working correctly, you can also have lack of clarity. You can have you can be narrow-minded. You just don't see it any other way unless it's your way. You have an inability to create long-term plans. You also have a rejection of anything that it doesn't go your way or be on your usual. And you also have a feeling of purposelessness or worthlessness in these when this chakra is definitely blocked. But again, once you align it, it will give you mental clariness. It will give you improve of focusness. It will give you insight. It will give you the power to make decisions or decisiveness. It would enhance your intuition. And as I mentioned before, your clairvoyance and your psychic abilities will arise. So this is why the third eye is important. Now, let's think about this as well, because there is a part that I would like to explore a little bit more. Your third eye is located right here, but your frontal cortex is somewhere in there as well. And when there is a blockage, the key word here is empathy. And when you do not have empathy, right? When your third eye is blocked, the ability to have an empathy or understanding people's emotions and where they come from, when you don't have that in you, you lose the very thing that helps you guide yourself when you're dealing with other people. And because it is blocked, you are actually tapping into this idea of selfishness as well. But your ego, it's in the wrong spot because it's all about you. Narcissisms are also an example when a blockage is in that area. Now, why it's a blockage? Because even though it might be overworking, that's a problem, because when you're trying to align each chakra, the purpose that you're doing that is to keep a balance between your whole body. So you do not want it when it's like barely moving, but you also don't want to have it when it's overworking, particularly your third chakra, because your third chakra again has to do with your mind. And when it is overworking, then we're talking about, selfishness. And as I mentioned before, narcissism, egotistical ego, and all these things that is all about you. The unity as a whole, as God's body in on earth, will not be present because it's all about you. If it's not gratifiable to you, if it doesn't satisfy you, then you do not want to do it. If it doesn't go with your plans, then it's not for you, which is a problem because we want to evolve with earth, but we don't want to assume that the whole world evolves around just us. So that's the problem as well when your third eye is actually overworking. So this is why we have to pay attention. But this is extremely important. Again, if you work with your lower chakras, then your ego and your self-centeredness will not be as bad as you think it is. When you already, if you work on the lower chakras, when you go into the third eye, then you understand that if the thought comes, you will be able to identify right away. I think this is more me. I want this to go this way. When in reality, I just need to let things go. I can accept it as the way they are, and I don't have to let them go. This way, you are still improving your behavior, but you doing it in terms of you, and not expect the whole world change because you are changing, which that's another key as well. You have to always understand that when you are doing these changes and when you are evolving and when you're spiritually growing, you have to understand that you are making these changes for yourself and not necessarily the whole world is going to do it with you. It is almost as you are unable to change everybody else around you. But if you can change your own attitude and behavior and how you react to everything that's surrounding you, it will make a difference. And this is why one of the reasons the third eye has to be open. But always remember that if it affects the pineal gland and it affects like pituitary gland, then you want to make sure as well that that is corrected. Because people that has, like, for example, problems with the pituitary gland, most likely they have issues with gaining weight or losing weight. But then why? All right. So now you have to go and make sure. So that's why I always emphasize that when you are working with all of your chakras, you first have to identify certain aspects in the physical. You have to go to the doctor. They have to do blood work. They have to make sure that your hormones are in balance, that everything around you is balanced, like the chemicals that flows in your body, that you don't have cysts in certain parts of your body, right? This is why you have to go to the doctor and make sure that they do that. Once they do all of that and all of that has been removed, then you definitely move on into working with your mantras, your positive affirmations, and obviously your frequency. Why? Because that's going to help you improve that specific area. All right. But never forget that always, I cannot emphasize it enough, find somebody that you can talk to as you work with these chakras. And most definitely find people that works with frequency, that works with a specific lights, and that do Reiki, because they will help you as well. So all of that has to be in combination. And never forget, make sure that you remain eating healthy, because eating healthy, specifically when you're working on that chakra, is what helps it also improve from within. All right. So I hope these videos were helpful, and we will continue tomorrow doing the last video, which it will take a little longer because I want to emphasize as well why the importance of all of them being in alignment, and places that you can go as well, and things that you can do more. All right. So with that being said, hit like, hit subscribe, use the description in the video to also help you more with what you're looking for, but also write comments in case there's something else that you want to share with me, because I don't know it all. So make sure you write if you need to or would like to write something in the comment as well. All right. So with that being said, have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.